Let's get into the Q&A, man. And this first one comes from Nick Galana. Galana? You think that's right?
Yeah,
Gelona? Galana?
I think that's right.
All right. And this is a good question. I like this one. If you could pick any three teams from the SEC for OU to play every year, excluding Texas, which three teams would you choose? So remember, it's going to be a 16-team league when OU and Texas get there. So for a reminder, in the West, you've got Bama, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Auburn, and A&M. And in the East, you've got Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, Kentucky, Florida, Missouri, and Vanderbilt. So our man Nick wants us to pick any three. I'll let you go first. What do you think?
Well, kind of what I've done is I've broken it down into categories a little bit because it's not realistic to say that like I'd like to play Georgia, Bama, and LSU every year, right? So you got to take one from that group, Bama, LSU, Georgia. I'd like to play LSU every year. I think and I know like this is probably a one-sided thing since they beat us in the national championship and then beat us in 2019. But like there's a lot of pent-up anger with LSU from Sooner fans. And I think that could turn into like an awesome yearly situation. Maybe turns into a horrible yearly situation, but I think that would be good. Like the next group to me is like kind of like semi-local, and I know A&M is still really far away, but I had A&M, Arkansas, and Missouri as schools that are fairly close. And of those, like I think it's just natural with Arkansas. So I'd go LSU, Arkansas, and then like for a far trip, I think South Carolina sounds awesome. It looks like they've got a great fan base. They're not the greatest. I mean, they're a good, solid team that's coming up. It's a quality opponent, but you're not facing a team that, is number one in recruiting year in, year out. So I think I'd go LSU, Arkansas, and South Carolina.
I'm with you. Now, let me make one thing very clear. If we just want OU to win games,
right.
Give me Vanderbilt, give me Missouri, and then who would be like, if we're just talking, hey, let's let OU rack up 3 wins, who would be the third choice right now? And things change over time, clearly, but
A&M?
Florida, Arkansas, A&M, but A&M's got talent, right, with the way that they've recruited. So I don't know, would it be Arkansas? Especially they lost a lot of coaches, they lost some players.
Probably be Arkansas. Because, they've made like a little 2-year run here where they've been a good, solid football team. But over like the last 15 years or so, maybe not quite 15 years, at least a decade, they haven't been very good.
I think you've talked me into South Carolina. And I do like the Shane Beamer connection. I know he's not going to be there for forever, right? But just for right here, right now, like that would make it a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
At least for me and you.
Oh, yeah. I think I don't think I've ever been to South Carolina.
I just we went to Charleston last year for the first time ever. And of course, Shane Beamer DM'd me, was like, dude, you're in South Carolina and you didn't let me know. I was like, that's why you're the best, man. That's why he's the best. But I've never been to Columbia, and that place gets going.
Yeah.
And
there's not many places that don't get going.
That's true.
Especially when the big schools are coming to town.
I was thinking maybe Florida, but I'd rather have South Carolina than Florida.
Yeah.
I think Columbia is supposed to be really cool. Like it's supposed to be a really cool city. And I think OU fans, that would be just one hell of an environment. And would South Carolina, are they going to be better than Florida moving forward? They certainly were better than them this season.
I think it's too early to tell on Florida. I mean, Florida's got more historical potential, but Beamer seems to have it going pretty well, man. They find ways to win scrappy games. You know, and I got to tell you, like, I hate taking Tennessee out of there because that Tennessee trip was incredible.
I say South Carolina was better than Florida. I'm pretty sure Florida beat their ass.
They
Like,
did. They lost, I think, did they lose to Missouri and Florida?
Yeah, it was bad. And then they finished up the way that they did, and everyone was like,
Right.
wait, what?
Yeah.
So maybe it would be, maybe South Carolina is not only a fun matchup, but it's also a fun place for fans to go to an away game, but it's also pretty damn winnable each and every year.
Yeah. So have we settled on anything?
I'm in. I think my three would be South Carolina, LSU, and Arkansas.
Okay. Then we agree.
What quick question for you. How do you feel about trading LSU for Tennessee?
Fine.
Heupel just signed the big extension. I'm just looking at kind of the near future, right? Yeah. Heupel just signed the long extension. That storyline would be fun each and every year.
You didn't go to that game, did you?
No, I was still playing in the NFL.
Incredible.
My wife went and she was like, it was insane.
It was awesome. It's the best road game for OU that I've ever been to, and it's not even close. Ohio State, not even close.
So
it was a great game too, which helps, obviously.
Yeah. Are we going LSU, South Carolina, Arkansas, or do we want to get Tennessee in there?
Tennessee's fine. I'll do Tennessee.
But I don't want to listen. If Tennessee, first of all, kind of seems like they got it rolling.
Well, hey,
but LSU,
Tennessee's one thing. Like, it's the risk reward is very high with LSU.
I was about to say, I think I'd rather have Tennessee every year than LSU.
If you're absolutely stuck dealing with LSU fans every year, maybe that's not a good idea. Let's Tennessee, Ark, South Carolina.
Okay, it is settled. Great question, Nick.
Good question. The good thing is right now, since we don't have much history with many of these schools, almost any three answers is right.
In all seriousness, if I could pick one school for OU to play every single year in the SEC, I think I would pick Vanderbilt. It's basically a guaranteed win. And then we get to go to Nashville every other year. You kidding me?
That'd be awesome.
That would be, OU fans would love that. That would be awesome. Now, would the games be great? Probably not, but who cares? There's nothing wrong with getting an easy win.
Maybe they're going to be the best program in the country.
Clark Lee did say that.
Right.
That happened. All right, let's get to the next question. This one comes from David Campbell. Oh, man. How long would it take Schmidty to get you back into shape starting today? And what would be the thing you'd have nightmares about going into it?
Well,
what is in shape? That's
what I was about to
question.
say. That is exact question I was going to say. Depends what you mean by back in shape, because if you're talking about like 21-year-old in shape, it doesn't like there's no amount of working out or anything that would get me back into that level of fitness.
We would need chemical assistance.
Yes, that's right. I don't think like if I was back into like a college routine where it's really all I did, all I worried about all day, every day, you sprinkle in some school here and there, but
everyone knows you're a big school guy.
I don't think it would take that long to get into really good shape for my age, like incredible shape for my age. But I mean, come on, I'm 41 years old. So
I'm 32. I would just be really concerned about the running.
Yeah.
This is true. I knew I was going to retire before my wedding, so that was 2018. So I stopped running February of 2018. I have not run since. And I'm not like, haven't jogged, certainly haven't sprinted. Like, people that are like, oh, yeah, sometimes I just went on a run. No, I don't do that ever. It's Peloton, elliptical, Versa Climber, Stairmaster. It is feet are on the ground. We are not there. So I'd be very, very worried that multiple things would pop. Like we'd get on the track and do 200s, dude. It would not be good. There's no way. It'd be bad.
You'd need it. Well, I say we would need a slow build up. Because whenever you're young, they can throw you in just like full speed and it's going to be miserable. Don't get me wrong, but you probably most likely won't die and most likely will not destroy your body with injuries. That's not the case at this age. You will most likely die and you definitely will be destroyed by injuries. So you have to gradually smooth into it.
With how you feel right now, like with any ailments you got going on right now, David asked, what would be the thing that would give you nightmares about going into like a Schmidty workout? What would be the number one thing for you? Like anything for me, like my right shoulder is like bone on bone. And you remember having to like overhead press like 185 or like clean and jerk like 220? Like my arm would fall off, dude. Like it'd be terrible. It's been a long, long time since I power cleaned, man. And I know you're still into some of that stuff, so you would fare better than I would. If he just threw 315 on the bar right now, it's like, hey, figure it out, big dog. Get it done. I may cry, dude. There's no way.
Nightmare fuel for me is I am like 100% fast twitch muscle. That's what I am. I've tried over time to try and develop a little bit better like endurance and cardio stuff. It doesn't happen to me. I'm just straight into anaerobic anything that I do. It's just how it works. So torture for me was like whenever I was there, we did 6 trip hundreds shuttles, 100 back, it's 600 yards. And I think the time was like, I think it was started at 2 minutes. I think they bumped it down to like 150 at one point, and we did 6 of them. And that's my nightmare is the long, it just goes on, feels like forever and ever and ever. That is nightmare for me. Short burst, like back of the line, quick rest, and then burst again. I can do that stuff all day long. Well, not all day. I'm better at that. The long distance stuff, it's torture for me.
I think if I had to choose my running right now, which remember, haven't run in over 4 years, I think the 6 trips of the 100, I think I'd fare better at that than like, hey, we're lining up and we're running
ramps or stadiums or gassers.
I just feel like something would pop like bad.
The gassers, whenever you're like, when the times are cooking and you're full speed into those turns, yeah, that's an Achilles waiting to pop at this age.
I want no part of that, man.
I want no part of any of it.
I was never good at lifting. So like if you're talking about nightmare going into it, like the weight room, that's where I would be going in there like already mentally defeated. You know what I mean? Like it would just, I'd be sweating. The anxiety would be high, high.
It was always one of those, like whenever you first start like a new cycle, like you're just going into winter workouts or you're just going into summer workouts. And it's the first day, like part of it is who are they going to put me with? Like, because I'm sure it was the same with you. if you have 3 guys in a group and one guy is, noticeably stronger than the other 2 guys, you do the stronger guy's weight. Like you don't switch the weights in between. It's just like, yeah, we'll just all use the heavier guy's weight. So that's part of it. It's the lottery.
That was my existence at OU. Because get this just in, I was never the strongest guy in my group.
Oh my God, that's great.
All right, we got a couple more questions. But first, the only place to stop when you're road tripping is Love's Travel Stops. Love's has over 600 locations in 41 states, offering 24-hour access to clean and safe places. Whatever your road trip needs are, Love's has it. Fuel, fresh food, all the snacks and drinks, including, yes, my favorite, Java Amore. That coffee is fantastic. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones. They've expanded their mobile to go zone so you can grab any of that stuff there. Make sure you download the Love's Connect app for exclusive offers from today's most popular brands. The Love's Connect app also includes a route planner and store locator. When you see that red neon heart on the highway, stop in and say hi at Love's Travel Stops. For a full list of what Love's has to offer, visit loves.com.
Opolis Clothing is the exclusive home for all of our Oklahoma Breakdown merchandise. If you want to live your life in buttery soft comfort, go to opolisclothing.com. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off your entire order. You still get a discount on all of the OU and OKC Thunder gear as well. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
All right, this next question comes from Clayton Champion, which, what a phenomenal name.
What a name.
He asks, as former student athletes, what is your honest opinion on NIL and transfer portal? And if you had the power to change anything about it, what would you change?
You want me to go first?
This is going to be a complex answer.
Here's what I think. I think that college athletics is supposed to be amateur athletics. I know that the whole situation has been muddied, and I guess you couldn't help that college football became as wildly popular as it is, and there's so much money being made by the university. So you're left with like a dilemma. How do we stay as amateur athletics, but we're making all of this income? So I know it's not an easy puzzle, but if I like NIL. I think a player should be able to capitalize on their name, image, and likeness. If someone wants to have you come sign autographs, fine. Someone wants to pay you to be a spokesman for something, fine. If it's organic and it's real, right? And we never even got a chance to see that. As soon as this thing happened, it turned into big collectives piling money in, and let's just find a whatever way possible to give the money to these players. And it's not real to me. And it takes, I don't know, it takes all of what you think about college sports and what's genuine about it and what's real about it, and it changes it. Because it wasn't very long ago that guys went to a school because they were a little kid and dreamed of playing on that field. Now guys go to a school, and I'm not blaming the players at all, but now I'll go wherever I get the most money, wherever I get the best deal. And I think it just ruins the innocence of it. And I feel bad for the players, because the money that they're going to get in the NIL stuff is not going to make them happy. It's just not. It'll, for the time being, it's going to feel like something great that you've got this money in your pocket, but the experience, the going to battle with your teammates, like nobody has anything. We're all just, scraping by with our scholarship check. Like, that's what makes it fun. Like that's what you remember about it, that there was no ego involved. There's no money involved. It was pure. So that's why I don't like NIL. Like I wish it was organic. And when it's organic, I think it can be real, but we haven't had that. And as far as the transfer portal goes, I mean, I think that there should be like a handful of reasons to why guys can transfer. The coaching change thing is difficult for me. I think like there needs to be a window. Like maybe if you were a freshman and a coach left, then you can transfer. But but if you opened it up, like I just feel like everyone would bail. But you already have that now. I don't know. I wish there was a couple of more qualifiers on the transfer portal instead of just open season, if that makes sense. The graduate transfer thing I thought was great. Right, guys go to school, forces them to go to school. They graduate. A lot of guys graduate early and are able to transfer out and go try a new place. Like I thought that was great because there's a little bit, you're dangling a carrot there, right? You graduate, you go wherever you want. Like, I thought that was awesome. I wish it wasn't quite so open season.
I still really don't have a fully formed opinion of the NIL stuff. And remember, I did some NIL stuff with some OU guys throughout the season. And that was rewarding for me. But it was simple. It was easy. Like they were doing something for what they were getting. Like it made sense. Kind of like what you were saying. But I still think we need to see how this system is going to function long term. Mm-hmm. One of the ways I see it is the Big Ten is about to make $1 billion a year with their TV deal. It's because of football. The guys playing Big Ten football deserve to make money when you're bringing in that much money. And I kind of view it this way. If people are willing to pay these guys money for whatever reason, then all right. Now, do I wish it was merit-based? Like, I think the guys that are good should make the most NIL money. I think the guys that have proved it on the field should make the most NIL money. Not some recruit that hasn't stepped on the field. But I understand doing what you got to do to get a 5-star quarterback in to kind of change your program. Like, I get that. And recruiting services make a ton of money off of covering recruiting. So do I have a problem with recruits getting paid to go places? Not really. I mean, that is a multi-billion-dollar industry now. Rivals, 24/7 Sports, On 3, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
So my whole approach to it is I want the best players to get the most money. That's how it should work, right? That's how every other sports league works. Like, if you perform, you get paid.
Yep.
I wish that was how it is. And it's not necessary. And I know there's, some players have big social media followings and maybe they're not the best player and that stuff factors. And I get that. But I love NIL. Shit, I wish it was around when we were playing. I would pay money to see a Teddy Lehman commercial when you were in college. I don't know what it would be, but I'd pay money to see it. But I'm glad the guys are making money because they deserve to make more money. And I know people are saying, well, their scholarships worth X, Y, and Z. Listen, you got to remember the amount of money that schools bring in because of football. I mean, look at Alabama.
And it's not just athletics.
No,
right?
it's enrollment. It's all that. It's like the effect it has on the local economy, the city, like especially places that really care about football. Like the guys on the field play a huge role in all of that. So yeah, I think NIL is a great thing. Is it perfect? No. Do I think it's the worst thing in the world? No. Do I wish that kids and their parents chose schools that they feel were going to develop them as the best player and the best person possible? Yeah, I do. But it's not how the world works, man. Like money influences decisions that all of us make every day. So I'm supposed to judge a kid because he goes somewhere because of money when I'm making all kinds of different choices, like because of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of, unfortunately, it's just kind of how the world works at points in time. Like you wish it'd be like, hey, what makes you happy? Yeah, do that. But really, it's kind of, hey, where can you be happy enough where you're getting taken care of financially? That's kind of life, man. So it's in the portal. I just that.
Well,
it's hard to keep track where everyone's at now.
On the NIL deal, like I agree with everything you said, and especially that last part. That's life, right? But this is my thing is like, that's why if I had a wish or a genie or whatever, I could snap my fingers and I could go back and start college football all over again as a freshman, not knowing anything. But I could choose right now if I could go back in an NIL environment or a non-NIL environment. I would choose to go back in a non-NIL environment, because you're right that it is what life is. But college football is not life. It's something completely different. Life starts as soon as you're done. Soon as you're done with college football, all that matters is money, right? That's all you think about. To pay the mortgage, to pay the bills, to keep the lights on, to put food on the table. That's what it is. And I would never want to play college football thinking about that. The peace of mind, I had too many other things to think about. The peace of mind of knowing that you don't have anything in college was like, you don't think, does that make any sense? Like,
yeah, no.
It's just, to me, it's just pure and it's real. I would never want to play college football in that environment.
It's an interesting point, really not something I'd thought about. And
I've told you, the most fun I've ever had playing football my whole life is when I played in the UFL and everyone made the same exact amount of money and it was nothing. And it was bliss. After playing 5 years in the NFL, going to do that, it was the greatest thing ever. Still have a ton of friends from playing in the UFL. Don't have hardly any. Really, I would say zero from playing in the NFL.
I think I would choose the non-NIL environment. I mean, I was an O lineman. I would have made like $12 anyways if it was it was the NIL environment. Let's be real. Come on. But that makes me wonder how much pressure some of these kids now like, I feel, because it used to be, okay, if a guy was really, really good, yeah, you're going to a school and you're trying to get to the league, and that's how you support your family, right? Or maybe, hey, a school's giving your parents something under the table and that they're getting helped out. But the thing was like, get to this college that will get me to the league, that will help me, that'll help my parents, you know? That was kind of the progression, right? And now it's like these high school kids, some of them are like, I got to choose the school where I can take care of my parents, which is just a crazy thought. And then what happens if you don't play well? So all of a sudden, like the pressure, because like you're saying, like when we were in college, we're still asking our parents for money, right? It's like, hey, Mom, can I get some money? Like, can I get some extra money? And now you got these kids who may have people depending on what they're bringing in on NIL.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure, man. And you still got to go out. You got to handle class. You got to handle all the extra stuff. And then you got to go out and play
man,
well.
You don't want life to start yet. That's what's great about college football.
Making these kids grow up too quick, man.
I know it. I know
But
it.
I see both sides of it. And that's why it's tough for me because, like, hey, they're all over 18. Like, there are a lot of people out there that got to grow up way earlier than they should probably have to.
Oh yeah, that's true. Hey,
And
that's true. And that's the thing is, like, I'm fine with the NIL situation. Like, I'm not mad that kids are choosing to go to school where they get the most money. Like, I don't judge them for that at all. I think that's totally reasonable because that's what we've done is we've taken the place that you feel most comfortable and what feels like home. We've taken that off the table for some kids, and it's still a small select few. Like, for the vast majority, it's like you're going where you feel like is the best place. But there's that small select crew where it's like we're making you choose to go where the money is and not necessarily what feels right or where the relationship feels the best. So I don't know. I'm not mad at the kids. Like, it's the environment they've been placed in. Frankly, I feel sorry for them.
it's just it's way different than what we went through. And
Yeah,
I just wonder how different it feels like in the locker room. You know what I mean? Or if it feels different at all.
It has to. It has to.
You would think.
If I was a 3-year starter and like just grinding away, putting it on the line week in, week out, year in, year out. And, I'm not getting an NIL deal, but there's a freshman that hasn't even played yet that's in high school that's getting $1 million NIL deal. I would be pissed. And trust me, I would let them know whenever they got there. I would ride their ass constantly about how much money they had. Let's see if he lives up to it today. He was horse shit yesterday. Does the $1 million kid have it? Can he finally show up every day? I would make life a living hell. And I'm sure there's guys out there that do that, right? I mean,
dude, I don't know if people are wired like you anymore, man. $8 million boy, come on.
Drinks on you
$1
tonight,
million man.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I don't know. Like I said, I feel sorry for some of the kids that they've had to. Like, the innocence of college football has been taken. It's still great, and there's still guys that that love the experience. It's still amazing, and probably overdoing it here on some of this, but it's just these high school kids that have $1 million deals coming in. They're not in a position yet to be able to see who's taking advantage of them and who's not, and that even includes parents. By aiming you to places that maybe you don't necessarily want to go because the money is a little bit better.
It's a lot more complicated now, man.
I know.
I hope they make a bunch of money.
More problems, Gabe.
There is no doubt about that. All right, well, that went long, so
it was a good question, though. I mean, it's
a fun discussion, and it is one. Like, I'm really interested in 7-8 years from now, when this has been in place for like a decade. First of all, things could look very, very different, but
they will, I'm sure, one way or another.
Do we end up looking back at it and being like, you know what? Wasn't that bad. Like, everyone got it figured out. It kind of evened out. It started making a little more sense how the system was operating, but gonna take some time, man. Don't have the power of hindsight quite yet.
No, nope.
People are gonna listen to this and be like, "What the hell did they just?
What happened?
What happened to like the entertaining, fun like football stuff. Now we're talking about life and money. It's like, what is this? Hey,
Yeah,
we're like onions. We have layers, people.
that's
Come
right.
on.